Welcome to Chaos Divided, a podcast exploring the hobby, the game, and the lore of Warhammer 40k. We're your hosts, Nurgle Snurgle and Blushing Noise Marine. And today we're excited to chat with our special guest, the Swarm Lord himself, Tyler from Basement Wargaming. Welcome.
Hello. I love that.
And today's quote is from a 4th edition Tyranid Codex. I'm sure Blushing Noise Marine dug real deep for this one. They are coming. I feel them scratching inside my mind. Scratching, screaming, running. So many, so many voices. They are coming for us. Flesh, body, and soul.
I feel like that sets
Love it.
the scene for what Tyranids feel like to play against.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
So
And
to get us
we
started-
concluded that this was a guardsman that said this?
Definitely.
Not a Primarch?
Someone was about to get eaten. It's a... No, that's what happened to Fairstone.
Whoa.
He lived and then the Tyranid ate him.
Is that for real?
that's a hot take.
Oh, I will
No,
believe you.
no. Though in the Truro community, it is standard to take a dig at
Have you ever fantasized if a Tyranid ate a Primarch? What would happen?
I've always kind of envisioned the Swarm Lord. I mean, the Swarm Lord's not like kind of like something like that. Yeah, me.
You're gonna eat a Primarch.
Something along those lines, like Swarm Lord on steroids.
Out of all the Primarchs, which one of them would a Swarm Lord eat first?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
You can think about it. You can think about it.
Probably. Oh, I know. It would be Goldman, I think. Imagine all those brains, all that intel being popped into
And
the
the candy?
hive mind. That's some logistical biomass. Right?
Watch out,
that's
Reboot
I
Day.
think.
We're coming for
Plus
you.
the hate. Yeah,
Oh.
like Ultra Beans, so.
Join the club.
I mean, they also don't like Blood Angels, but I don't think they can eat Sanguinius anymore.
No, they can't eat Dante because
Nothing can kill Dante.
yeah. They did actually eat him. They just spit him out. Yeah, it's my second rule.
So to get us started, would you mind introducing yourself to our listeners?
For sure. So my name is Tyler. I am, as you guess, I'm a Tyranid player primarily. I've been playing Warhammer for a long time. I played for, I'm going to say 2 years when I was like 12 or 13. So I don't officially count that. But
It counts.
we played some epic entire bedroom floor Warhammer games where we set up for like 4 hours. It felt like played maybe the quarter of one turn and we're like something else. So that was the extent of my early career. That was 3rd edition. I actually started with the 3rd edition starter kit. I was a Marine player, of course, at the time because poster boy, and they got me.
They hooked you.
But then they did. And then it was like, I think we stopped playing when I was like 14. And then I think I was 16 or so. And my brother played hockey, and I was never in any sports or anything. I'm a competitive paintball player, but this was actually even before I started playing paintball. And I was looking for a hobby to get, like, for something for me to do. And I was like, I should get back into Warhammer. So I actually bought my parents got me the Tyranid, which edition was it? I think it was the 3rd edition Battle Force, because I always loved Tyranids. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I bought that. I painted them horribly. I had no one to play with, and then they was sat in the box. I still
In the
have
box?
them. Yeah, they're somewhere.
Okay.
No, they're out. I used them. Yeah, they helped kick me back into the game. So then, jumped to 2012 in my return to Warhammer. I was working at Eastlink. I did 2 days, 2 nights, and on my night shifts, I no longer work there, so I'll say it. I gamed during the night, so I'm safe. Cat's out of the bag. I would play just video games all night. It was really quiet. Everyone else did it, so I figured I better follow along. And I started playing Dawn of War again, and I was like, oh, man, I miss Warhammer. And I was like, I'm an adult. I'm air quoting here. I'm an adult at the time, young adult, and I was looking for something to do. So I messaged all my friends that I used to play Warhammer with, like when I was like 12. I was like, what are the chances you guys would do this if I went all in? Like, would you all go all in? And thank goodness, I think there was 5 of us. We all committed to it. We all bought, I think, roughly 2,500 to 3,000 points. We found this online discount sailor on eBay. We all bought like a huge army to start with, and there we go. So I've been playing, like actually playing, since 2012. Sixth edition, I think it was, just launched, and we kicked it off with that. And then I played I think 3 games of 8th. I took all of 8th off. My oldest son, he was born in 2016. I have three kids, 3 boys, so very busy with that. So I stopped playing for a few years there. Took up a few of my other passions and hobbies, kind of took priority, and my local gaming crew kind of like not vanished, but my brother played, he kind of stopped, and one of my other friends, he moved to Halifax, he stopped, and then my other buddy that I was really into playing with, Gordy, he's from Truro here too. He's actually back in the game too, which is awesome. He moved to Fredericton, so I was like, I got no one to play with, whatever. So I took all of 8th edition off, and then my brother-in-law saved me. So I had not played. I had zero desire to play because the game was so different. Gordy tried to get me to play 1 game of 8th. So like, and this, I stopped in 7th. I never actually went through the jump from 7th to 8th. And Gordy convinced me to play 1 game of 8th, and I played it. I was like, this isn't the game I remember. so I wasn't that interested in. And then just before COVID hit in 2020, was it 2020 that ninth? Yeah, it was during COVID that 9th came up. My brother-in-law was like, he was looking for a hobby. He didn't really play any sports or anything. He's like, you know what, like I want to do something. He'd always been interested in Warhammer. He knew I played it way back 2 years before that. I was pretty heavy into it. So he messaged me. He's like, what do you think about, like, if I start to get into it, do you think you could teach me? And I was like, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind at all. Like I'm up to date enough. I could quickly read the 8th rules and get back into it. So anyway, I went and bought the 8th edition rule book, and then found it.
No.
So awesome. Yeah. So then it was like 3 months of like us playing a game here and there, just getting used to it. Me kind of getting back into the swing of things with my Tyranids, finding out where they had been, how they are doing. And then 9th edition hit, and then once he got back into the game and actually bought an army, I was like, I'm back in this. I've missed it so much. And then here we are, 9th edition. I played a ton.
Now we're going into 10th.
Especially during... Yeah. And I lived with my brother-in-law too. We sold our house and we were living in his house. He took us in. Darn housing market. Mm-hmm. We couldn't find a house for a while. So yeah, I had a Warhammer buddy to live with. So I was very fortunate during the COVID lockdowns, where we were in the same bubble. I got to play a ton of Warhammer, where others for a while were so fortunate. So it was really good for me to get back into the game, help him learn the game itself. And then as soon as the restrictions were lifted, I started. Well, actually, I guess more the important point is I make content as well, Basement Wargaming. And that was another big reason that I got involved with the community in Halifax. So I started making reports again, just Josh and I playing, and I was posting them, and I was like looking how to like expand my reach, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to meet more people. There's not really much of a scene in Truro. Like, at the time, I was like, it's me and him that play. There's definitely. Was
there a win rate between the two of you? Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay. Say no more.
That's all I'll say. Yeah. Oh yeah. The rivalry between if you want to check my channel, it's just Basement Wargaming on YouTube. I'll talk a little bit more about what we do, but there's a good I think I want to say 25 videos where it's just Tyranids and Salamanders. So that's your jam. And they were really fun games. Like I ran a lot of variety lists and stuff, but it's fun. It was like a very kind of a good rivalry on the channel, and I'm kind of done with 9th, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But I want to do one more report of a game against him, kind of be like the last one to send out. I think would be a fun way to end that. So yeah, I was making my reports, looking for expand my reach. So I started looking at Facebook groups, and I found like a whole bunch in Halifax. So I started posting my reports. Some people started reaching out to me like, hey, like there's a few people like, hey, you play Tyranids too? And I was like, oh yeah, awesome. And then we started talking, and then I was like, you know what? I see these little tournaments. I'm gonna brave it up and go to one. I was so nervous because I'd never done anything competitive. Oh, no. And then it was. So yeah, I started traveling, or got the desire, or I shouldn't say desire. I braved the nerves to travel down and play some competitive Warhammer, having again only played against the Salamanders. never been to a tournament before. Gordy had tried and
Mhm.
tried during 8th edition to get me to go, but I was like, no, I'm not playing it. And then he was out of the game at the time, so I was like, I didn't really have anyone to like play competitively with. So I was like, how am I gonna do? So I went down to my first tournament. You were actually there, Kaylee. I remember seeing you. I seen your name like over and like I remember seeing. I was like, and I remember my
No way. What?
like yeah. I remember seeing you. I was just like, do I say
Was
hi?
it a deck box
like,
flip?
no, it was a it's like a Todd event.
Was
I
it
think so.
more? Not. Was
Yeah,
it
you and Jay were playing.
That was.
No, this was one. It was like right when it was like I think it was like the first or second tournament once the
That
restrictions
was
lifted.
my first
Like,
tournament. Yeah.
Oh really? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I just remember like it's like
it
I think it was,
2019?
like, I remember like or no, it was in 2020.
Oh,
right
it was the 9th. The RTT?
Yeah.
Huh?
All I remember is like what's that? I was
Oh.
super nervous. I didn't talk to many people.
Oh.
So I seen you there, and then I seen Jay. I just remember like I was like looking over, and I was like, because like you guys were insane painters, and I was like, look, and every time like I seen like you go by with your armies, I was like, oh, goodness, and I like tried to like take a look at it. I was like,
You
it's
knew
them,
who we
the
were?
painters. Oh, I knew
Wow,
who you were.
that's so
Yeah.
surreal.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
it was
remember
actually it was
seeing
really
you
cool.
too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey.
No, I was probably so like,
Yeah, it was
especially like in the beginning, like of tournaments, I was so focused on my rules that everything else was just a blur. Like, just trying to remember my demon print hits on twos, right?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah.
I was so nervous. Like I remember like my very first game was like
Oh,
my hands just shaking. Like that you could hear the
oh my
measure
god. Bumping your model.
yeah, like bumping and people are probably looking, they're like, is this guy trying to get extra movement? I'm nervous, like the tape just bumping stuff around. I'm like, oh just look at it, it's off my movement, I'm sorry.
Aren't you glad that you don't have to like deal with that anymore? Like,
Oh no, yeah, it's so much more carefree and like and knowing everyone now too, it's so much more laid back. Like that first event, it was like once I got the first game out of the way, who did I even play? I'm trying to remember. It was like a blur. Like the only game I remember from that first tournament is I ended up playing a guy that had salamanders. And unfortunately for him, I just spent 6 months exclusively playing that one army.
and now he thinks you're a pro.
So I actually I actually knew his stratagems and everything better than he did. That was the only game I don't remember anything else from that event. But I remember seeing you.
Wow.
It was cool because there was a guy Phil. I met him through paintball.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even know he played Warhammer, and I remember I was in the parking lot before I went. I was like looking, and then I was like watching everyone walk in. And I was like, oh no, these guys. And I seen everyone with their carrying trays, and I was like, oh no, these guys are pros. Like they're painted trays and everything. I was like, yikes! I'm sitting here with my little wooden box. But then I seen a paintball backpack going. I was like, wait a minute! I know everyone in that community. I went in. And I was like, oh, it's Phil. And then to be honest, that helped me feel
awesome.
a lot more at ease. But like, on a whole, like there's a few people as well. Like I remember one guy made like a special point to like he seen me just kind of standing there, and he made a point to come over and be like, oh hey, you played Tyranid. Like he went out of his way to like come over and talk to me, which is really nice. And I was like, okay, like this is really laid back, because I was scared. Like I was like, what am I going to be dealing with here? Like are people like intense? Like are people going to be like, learn your rules? Like getting all
what you see on
sweaty
on the internet and what they've said. Like I remember those nerves as well. Like right before my first one, just like sitting in the parking lot, head in my hands, like what am I doing? and like being nervous, like to confront that type of interaction, but luckily there isn't that.
Yeah, I've never had that happen in any of my. It's incredible.
Knock on the wood on your walls.
Keep that streak going. But so that's kind of how I came to be. That's me. That's Basement Wargaming Tyrannids.
Well, I think we've said this before, but we're pretty fortunate to have a very welcoming community here in both locally and regionally. Yeah. So it's nice to hear someone else also talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's phenomenal. Like how open everyone is to coming down, and even like there's some insanely skilled players in our local scene, like insanely good. And you play them, and it's not like just wham bam, see ya, wrecked ya. It's very much like they'll do stuff, and they're very open to like talking about what I could have done differently, what did I learn. So it's really good because every game against those people, like even if you get destroyed, you at least walk away learning something, and everyone's like very good spirits about it. And same for the reverse. Like you get a game where you kind of like steamroll over someone. I've never had anyone that's like rage quit or like just been super angry. Like again, 9th edition's kind of.
She's a swingy lady, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's turn one edition.
Oh.
It should be called. The entire game's over almost turn one many times. When it's not, it's my favorite thing in the world. But I find that's the most stressful part about Warhammer is like building a list and like going up against someone. I said people probably think I try and tailor because a lot of times if I play someone like, what are you bringing? And then people are like, oh, this. I'm like, I just want to know because I really want to make sure that like I try and match it if I can because I want a good game. Like unless it's a very competitive setting, obviously you're trying to build to win. But I despise taking 4 hours out of my Saturday or Sunday to get a game in, and then it just is like a steamroll because of like power creep, and you're just like, oh, this isn't fun for me, isn't fun for you, and then it's like, oh, good thing I spent an hour setting everything up.
Yeah, because 9th edition Tyranids were quite powerful throughout.
Yeah.
Like, did you feel any weakness? Like,
I guess maybe what I'll do is I'll kind of talk through Tyranids in 9th edition and how I found them. Again, like I have a very small, I think like 3,000 points of Ultramarines. I more painted them because like I read the Horus Heresy book about them, and I was like, I actually really dig Ultramarines, and I had Marines because of Star Kits, so I was like, I'll paint them. And then I have Necrons because Indominus box, and they're pretty cool. But Tyranids are my true love forever. Even if they're the worst iron in the game, I probably wouldn't stop playing them. Fingers crossed, 10th edition. But like I really liked Tyranids in the start of 9th edition. We were, I would say, like maybe a D tier army, C at best. Like they could do well. This is also pre-Demicarans because I'll mention them in a minute. I love them. But they were an army that you had to be very, very strict in how you built the list. Everything it's in a way it's fluffy, but I don't think that was the intention by Games Workshop. Every unit had to be like made or put into the list for a very specific role. Again, like the hive mind, like it makes units right, very, very evolved and adapted to like one role in particular, and that's kind of how they played. So you really had to build your list and execute it perfectly, or you weren't going to win games early on. And I like that. It was the wins I got were very hard fought. And I found as a player, that's why I got really good with Tyranids because they weren't the best early on. They were very hard to use. It was for the longest time. It was Codex Hive Guard. It was really boring. They were stupidly good in the Hive Guard, just shooting through walls. Like getting +1. Yeah, it was like a double fire.
Just hide them and then they were nuts, get your behind the enemy lines.
Yeah, just sit on the backfield
and you're good to go.
Right. Oh yeah, right. And then like the rest of the list was like everything. Like we had some good stuff. And then the Forge World update came out, and then the Macarons became a thing. I love them. So we're just gonna quickly touch on them becoming legends. That is so. That's the only thing I'm really salty about. Really,
join the
really
salt.
I'm mad about that. Oh my goodness, they're just such a fun unit. Like jumping over buildings.
Model too. Like.
They are, yeah.
Are you looking at them right now?
They're on my team. I am. I have two on that. My kids are playing with them. They gravitate towards the biggest models, of course. So they're sitting on the table, standing over there. But so then they came out, and they were my first Forge World model. I got two of them, and I went to a tournament, and actually I did really well. I went 2-1. I think this was one of like the smaller RTT events, but I had a good chance of winning. But I played Mortarion during the height of the Death Guard with the Light Burst Crawlers. I had never played him before, so I had no idea what to expect. So I just made a few mental errors there. But actually, one thing I want to mention too is I played two Grey Knight players that tournament, both of whom were very salty that the Tyranids were better Psykers. That moment will forever sit in my mind. I played Keenan in one of them, and I just remember like halfway through the game, he looked at me and he's just like, "I am not at all mad at you," but he's like, "But I'm furious that Tyranids are outside me." Oh. But yeah, so it was playing with the Dimicarans was a lot of fun because then like I got to kind of branch out into like I wouldn't want to say overpowered units, but they were really good like with Swarm Lord slingshotting them, like double moving them for a while. It was they were bonkers, and like I've never experienced an OP unit or army Tyranids during the course of 5, but there was the Hive Tyrant flying Hive Tyrant had always been ridiculous, but like I guess it was you spam through them before, but never like a unit that was super good. So it was fun to kind of like get to experience that. But then you had to be careful in how you played them. So it was all my games before the Forge World buff for Tyranids prepped me for like the rest of my list played very well. I wasn't just depending on a single unit just to win me the whole game. So it was good. And then we jump into what came first, the Leviathan supplement, or the Leviathan supplement came up for Tyranids, followed by Crusher Stampede.
We remember.
Yeah. Yeah. So then at that time, I got myself a Harridan. I love my Harridan. Then that thing in Crusher Stampede is just. It was phenomenal. I had such a good run with that. It was so much fun, like running like true Nidzilla. But then we jump into the 9th edition Codex, and we got our turn to break the game. That was also like it was fun, but at the same time, that was probably some of the most unfun games I've ever played. Thankfully, my good pal Josh, my Salamanders homie, he took the bullet to play the first game against him. This was with the fresh Codex, no nurse or anything. I think it was top of turn or bottom of turn 1. We were like, we could call it. We'll just play with the Tyranids next turn and see what happens. He had I think like 3 models left.
Bottom of turn 1.
I can't remember. It was bottom or top of turn 2. I went first. Yeah. Yeah. So then it was great competitively speaking. Obviously, you want.
What was kind of going through your mind?
Win, but
going in.
It was cool. I say cool. Like I don't like. I am very much someone that again I like to play a game that goes down to turn 5. Not ideally in a turn setting, obviously. You want to win there, but to play any other game, like even a competitive game here in the basement, if a game can go to turn 5, that's my ideal scenario. It feels rewarding for both of us. And usually, if a game comes down to turn 5, you're either pulling out some clutch play, or both of you are executing game plans very well, and it's a chess match, which that makes good players, and that's how I got skilled at playing, is having matches like that. But the Codex, it was frustrating because like the Codex was very overpowered compared to everything else, but at the same time internally it was the most fun the Tyranids had ever been. Like every unit was good, and every unit was good at what it did, and you're like, I've sat on Raveners since 2012.
They shined.
Many a year. Yeah, oh my goodness. And then they came out, and then you're just like, yes, but they're just so dumb how good they were for the points. Like it was 35 points a model for like 5 attacks, AP -4. They move 12. They have shooting as well. 4 up save, tough 5 with 4 wounds. Like
how many FAQs did you face in 9?
I think 4 or 5. And each time they just like they took away. And
went from A+ to A to B+.
I think Tyranids were S.
Okay, sorry, S.
Oh,
yeah.
S.
S.
S plus. S plus. Yeah, it was unfortunate because like not unfortunate. It was like, good for the health of the game, but it was unfortunate because they pulled again like internally. It was a phenomenal Codex and how it played. Every unit was good. You could build such a variety of things, but then they pulled away our ability to like our hyper adaptions, which is like your fleet trait. And you can adapt at the start of the game. Very, very fluffy, very, very cool, very unique. But they took that away from us. And you're like, why? And they didn't fix like the other broken stuff. And you're like, this makes no sense. But anyway, then like all the updates, they just took like our ability to score. That's what they took from us.
Yeah, I've heard like
which was annoying because
very.
Oh, I mean, I'm not going to take this whole podcast up ranting about those because I very well could.
Stay tuned till part 2 for the rest of the podcast.
It goes on a little
I'm
while.
sure. I think both of you have heard. Yeah, you've heard my rant probably a few times, but yeah, to sum it up, they're awful, and we can still score objectives well, but it's very much like into arcs of Wellman. Like I'm taking a psychic one. I'm either building for behind enemy lines or banners, and then my third one, I'm hoping I'm good at killing something you have. Armies that get like custodes, good luck, because it's typically a killy one that you have to rely on. Yeah, it's just I would rather have an army that's like B tier, C tier, but with fun objectives and the ability to like fine tune a list to like pull out some good plays versus an army that's just ridiculously killy. But if my opponent can just even slightly play objectives well, I don't have a shot. I don't enjoy that style, and that's why I'm excited for 10th. And the end tail of 9th with Tyranids it's kind of meh for me. I did get pretty creative. I guess we'll kind of. I don't know if you want to talk the competitive stuff yet, or like kind of that's I don't know.
No, we're here to chat with you.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess I guess I can talk with Tyranids all.
To kind of like touch on like your play
oh.
style with 9th edition was lots of monsters. You didn't really go into the horde, no?
I'm not a swarm player. No, I don't enjoy it. I don't like painting that many models over and over again.
That's the reason.
Thing. 100%. Yeah. And I don't like moving all those models. I've always been. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I don't know how you played that demon list. Oh my goodness, you're very efficient.
There was times where just like if I had 5-inch movement, I was just moving them 3 inches. I didn't care. I just kind of pushed them like it was like I'm at a casino, just pushing the chips.
Oh my god. Yeah. When you had the. What do they start?
The pink cores? Oh,
the pink cores,
yeah. And then you kill them and then they multiply.
The Bellacore list that we played. Oh,
that was fun.
Yeah, like I was dreading playing you because I was like, there's so many bodies, and then we ended up getting paired in that one tournament, and then it was just like there's so many models. But yeah, I don't like horde models or horde armies myself. I say that, but the last list I played, we did a little community event here. Intro and I ran Gorgon. I buckled down and I painted 42
Proud
of them.
you.
So I was like, I'm gonna do it. It's a really good. It was a really good list. It was fun. I ended up really enjoying it. So my play style with Tyranids, controlled aggressive is how I like to play them. I've always liked medium-sized Tyranids, like Raveners. They're my jam. I love Raveners. I like Warriors. I've always wanted Warriors to be good, but then we got Leviathan Warriors, and I just feel consistently obnoxious running these things. Permanent transhuman with what do they have? T5, 3 wounds apiece, and then you can do -1 damage on them. They were just they were mean. They were fun, I would say. But I love like the medium-sized bugs. Like Raveners are always my favorite. I like the bigger bugs too. I'm controversial topic, but I view Tyranids not as bugs, but they're like space dinos, dragony. That's kind of
controversial.
People may not agree
with it. The tea.
Yeah, but everyone's always like bugs. Yeah, they're always like bugs, and I'm like, no.
I mean, the older Tyranid models are more lizardy looking than they are
right
bugs, really.
Yeah, they're like there's 6-limb dinos. That's like they're very. I find they're definitely bug aspect. I find they're more reptilian. Is like, especially like the forgeable ones. Like I look at a barbed Gyarados, I'm like, or the Harridan. I was like, you can't tell me that's not a dragon. Like,
yeah,
that's a dragon. That's not a fly. That's
people
not a
come
moth.
calling your Harridan like a turkey or some big bird. You're like, it's a dragon. I view them as kind of so that's why I like the aesthetically. I always like the medium and bigger size models. I do like Horde for like Turfagons. That's fun. I just never really got into. Again, I don't like moving all those models, but I like a very controlled, aggressive style, and that's I really like Kraken. Was my favorite. My favorite list I played through the entirety of 9th edition, outside of my Harridan because I love them. And the Dimicarans, I guess, were fun. But the the Kraken Raveners with Biowars was so mean.
how fast they were, how they blended everything, and then having overruns, like just launching, kill something and run away, and then biovores shoot down to average 6 spore mines. So it's like, please walk up to me and get spore mined. Have fun. Or a Reaper Tyrant then jumps out, kills something, and jumps back. Yeah, that was a mean list. And then that list I ran, it was the one I used in our team event we played in November. It was a lot of fun. But that list they bumped up. What was it? 500 points. It went up. It was something like that. It was just wild. Like every unit I had in that list got a points increase. I was like, why? Why did this happen? Every single one of them. And yeah, anyway, so yeah, I like the very controlled, aggressive style with Tyranids, and really building my list to excel at. I mean, I had to be very specific in that, excel at certain secondaries. Where before I found you could kind of like pick and choose one of them, like depending on who you're playing. Like, oh, this secondary may be a better option. I'll just jump with that one. But now it's very much you have to build for one and be like, I really hope my opponent isn't good at shutting that said secondary down.
Oh no, they are. Uh-oh.
Yeah, right.
The faction secondaries, I think, were a fun idea that like could have been, but especially with like getting rid of the cap on them, just like opened up too much play for people that had like, you know, great secondaries. And then, you know, I played two armies that had terrible secondaries, and you just can't keep up.
Right? And then what era was it? I think it was not Nephilim. What was before Nephilim? I don't remember. Was it just the Nachman? That was Nachman. That was wasn't that one where you could like you could only pick one of your faction secondaries. I liked that era, even though the Tyranid ones were still hot garbage at the time. But I liked that where you could pick one, and then was it Nephilim where you could just take 3? Or
and then Arcs took the same as you can take all 3.
Yeah.
I think wasn't Nuckman also like engage didn't have restrictions in the quarters?
Yeah, Nuckman was that's the other thing. That was the season where the Tyranid Codex dropped and Stranglehold was the whole thing.
To the last.
Hard to shake Tyranids were. And to the last, it was just like, it was those are secondaries that Tyranids were insane at, especially like Codex Tyranids, like our 9th edition Codex Tyranids. They were very good at them. But yeah, that's 9th edition Tyranid. That's my career right there. how I went with them. So I'm very excited for what's
almost gone.
And looking forward, so I'm assuming you've kept up with the reveals, the leaks.
Assuming.
How do you feel about 10?
I feel really good. To be honest, I've been trying to keep up. The last few weeks has just been very busy with work and family. My wife was just out in BC for just under 2 weeks, so it's just me and the 3 boys holding down the fort here. So we had a lot of fun. So. And the boots, I own a kombucha brewery, so we're trying to do that, and then have the kid. It was a busy time. My parents helped a ton with the kids, which was very fortunate. So I've been doing my best to keep up with 9th. If it's tier related, I know all about it. The other factions, I'll read it.
You'll hear the cries.
What do you think?
Yeah, pretty much. I try and phenomenal. I think they're amazing. The Screamer Killer, when I first seen it, I was like, and then now I look at it, I'm like, I can't wait to have 3 of them. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how good they are and how they fit into my builds. But yeah, I really like that. The term, to be honest, it's kind of lame. The Termagants probably the most excited. Almost they just like they're so much more dynamic. Before it's just painting them too. That's the other thing. Like I painted those Hormagaunts. It's just the same thing over and over again. You're like, oh, this one's different because its claw is 45 degrees higher. This one's different because it's slightly to the left. But overall, you're painting the same thing over and over again. Where these ones, like the position's a little bit different, like the way their tail. It's a minor difference, but to me, looking at it, I don't feel as instant burnout looking at a horde to paint. So I'm excited about them. The Leapers are very cool. They have me. I'm excited, but at the same time, I'm slightly worried that I'm like, did my 42 Hormiguns I just painted. I haven't heard a thing about Hormiguns. Don't take them away. I just painted those. I can't see that happening, but and the Lictor. I'm very curious if the Lictor will stick around. The Leapers are like the perfect hybrid between the two of them. They're very cool. I watched the Games Workshop, the little battle report they did. I watched it. I clicked through it as fast as I could, looking for Tyranid intel. I didn't really watch it, but I seen their part having like fights first is it's spicy. I like it. So a very cool model. The one I haven't seen a ton about is the I never remember the name of it. The dude with the smoke.
The dude with the smoke.
Yeah, he's got like the he eats the psychic people.
Oh,
yeah, it's like I never remember the name.
Phage or something.
It's like something phage. Yeah, it's like a phage or something like that. Here we are. I'm telling you all. Forget this one. But that one's really cool. I'm interested to see the full rules for it and kind of how it fits into everything. And the Wing Tyranid Prime, I really like the design. I'm very excited about that because I have 3 Flying Hive Tyrants. It's just I don't understand the wing design on them at all. It's one of the most not one of the most unfriendly models, like especially in like say even like a competitive setting to set up. If you don't have good terrain, it's like, well, I guess my wing's getting
yes.
It's just so wide and like right, like, and I'm sure with the
they're much
the new demon princes are bad for like these giant like the wings are the new one, like it's a gorgeous model, but the wings are almost double this like height of the model itself.
Right? They should do the Andron thing where because like his wings are all like tucked in. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, it's the Tyranid Prime. It's I love that they're tucked in. It's it's a different pose for Tyranids. Every Tyranid like has its wings.
I'm here.
It's flapping its wings at you. But this one looks it's cool. It's very different, and you can actually hide it. And the Neuro Tyrant is also. I'm very interested to see what that's like. The entire army, like I don't know what I kind of know how it's going to play. I feel like it's going to be it's going to feel very early 9th edition Tyranids to me. Very good at objectives, potentially the killing power. Like I think a lot of people are super salty over some of the stat lines that drop. Swarmlord, I'm pretty on it. You look at like Abaddon, Guilliman, basically any other character.
Oh, Abaddon got
they're insane.
Like as far as like killing.
Is that at a drop?
Yeah.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, like he's. I mean, we don't know exactly what he can do, like, but he's become more of a buffing Guilliman type character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, even like Guilliman compared to Swarm, just like looking at it, and again, it's so hard because like people are getting mad, and I'm like, oh, how many points is he getting? I don't know.
What kind of strats can you put on him? I don't know.
Right. And that's the thing too. So like I'm going in very open minded, but looking at it, it feels kind of but at the same time, there's been so many rumors of a Apex Swarmlord. It's kind of a lame name, but there's supposedly a Primarch level big nid coming, which it makes sense. The rumors are all pointing toward the entire line almost getting a full overhaul, like one of the largest that Games Workshop has done for like an army. Supposedly it's coming. So there's high potential for that. So maybe Swarmlord is going to kind of stick to more like his buffing abilities are insane. Like being able to make a strat cost 1 more CP permanently for the entire game. Suck on that.
Ouch.
Well, like because I'm seeing a lot of the strats too for other armies. It seemed like, oh goodness, someone's going to spam that like crazy. But like if it's a 2 CP thing, it's like have fun costing 3 CP for the whole
rest of the game.
So. Yeah, it permanently increases it. You can do that
like
any
the
strat.
Kairos
So it's
Fate Weaver? So his is if you spend for a strat, you get it for like say 2 CP, and then for the rest of the game it's 3 CP. Is that how is it worded? Like for the rest of the game, it's then increased.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's spicy. there's two other buffs he has. To be honest, I don't remember them because that one just has me excited, and I've only focused on that. But I think that's what Swarm One's going to go to is a buffing character rather than like, because right now people like even early on in that, like he was a beat stick. You double and you get the double move, which I never really got. It didn't really make sense. It was a wicked rule, but it was just very like out there. No other army could do it. You're just like, and slingshot gene stealers and sling. Anyway,
Cool.
It was obnoxious. Yeah, I guess I did different characters.
Yeah, the double D's.
Yeah, the double D's, little dimmies.
How do you feel about losing
trouble.
psychic phase? Because you just talked about how you were greater in the psychic phase than Grey Knights, and now.
Yeah, I think like I said, I think Tyranids are going to not be as killy of an army. Just that's my prediction. We're going to lose a ton of our killing power. I still think we're going to be very good at it. But even looking at like our rupture cannon, like that compared to the other anti-tank guns, it seems very like, and people are like, oh, why is this not as good? But then to me, I feel like we're going to be good at objectives. So losing the psychic phase, I think we're not going to be Codex Mortal Wound anymore.
Not going to be mad about that.
No.
I think everyone's going to be okay with it.
What was that one model? Like what was the max it could do? Yes.
The Malceptor. Yeah, pre-nerf, it was, I think he averaged 18 mortal wounds, something like that. I think something like that. You know, just a casual 18 mortals.
Can confirm it felt bad.
It did feel bad.
Yeah.
Having watched my army melt to a Malceptor, because Tau don't have Deny the Witch, so.
It's mean. So yeah, I think losing Psychic Phase is I think it's a good thing. Like it's going to go back to like early 9th edition. We're going to be very. I think we're going to be. It's so hard to say, but I think we're going to be like S tier when it comes to like the objective game. I think we're going to be really good at it with like endless ways of hordes, so many ways to cause battle shock. Like it seems like they're really. I don't know if it's going to be like how relevant it's going to be. It's obviously going to be very important, but I don't know if Games Workshop is also just being like, hey, we made this new thing up, let's hype it to the moon. At the same, like I don't. It's so hard to say like this early on. Like it's like morale now. Like they kind of. I remember the 9th is coming. Like the morale phase, people gonna run, and it's really like.
Or models no fear, so they don't suffer from morale.
Synapse.
So who can run the most? Demons. Demons ran the most.
Right. Yeah.
We have morale.
Back to the war. They're just Well, I guess that's another thing too. Changing is Synapse is very different. Like and for me, I think that's going to take a bit of getting used to. I'm not. Some people are kind of mad about it. I'm not too worried about it. I think it's like a 90% chance to pass Battle Shock or something. We have really good odds. I guess is when say you get to roll 3d6 or whatever, then pick the two highest or something like that. I can't remember if it's all three, but. Going from 2012, basically being like, I don't fail morale ever, to this, like, it's gonna be a change. And again, like I think they're really gonna push Tyranids into an army that is insane at scoring objectives and very good at denying objectives too. I think we're gonna be a very disruptive army.
I think it'll be. It reminds me a little bit more of like 5th edition Tyranids, where it was a lot more like melee tough, like just in your face. So I think there's going to be more options on that rather than the like psychic heavy, because the psychic phase like replacements seem pretty like it seems like a pretty big nerf,
right? So that the one thing that has me I'm most interested in the zone throw data sheet. Like what is that going to look like? Because I mean right now they're wild. They got a very appropriate points increase. It was wild.
Wow.
They went up by like 70 points per unit. Yikes. I mean, it was very very needed. It was you
didn't argue. You're like,
I'm grown up to admit that. We had a fun run. But I'm curious what they're gonna do. Like, are they gonna shift into like more of a buffing role, or like back to like 5th edition, 6th edition, their psychic was a shooting attack, which is what everything's moving to. But the warp lance, which they had before, was almost guaranteed to kill a vehicle every time. It was just like an insane. Yeah, like if it shot a vehicle, as long as you didn't miss the hit roll, you blew a vehicle up essentially. Unless it was a land raid, and there was like a 33% chance you wouldn't, something like that. But they were also like units of 1 back then, so it was just like one little dude floating around just blowing everything up. But where they're units of 3 now, I don't know if they're gonna stay as like an anti-tank almost, or they were like anti-tank, anti-elite back in the day. So I don't know. I don't know what role they're going to go with, because they haven't said anything about imperatives at all, which was a cool feature, having like a synapse creature giving you your army wide buff for the turn, and that was the big thing with them, giving inballs everywhere for when you needed it. So I don't know. I think it's good for Tyranids to lose that psychic phase, because it was a lot of times just the opponent, especially if you're a Necron player, have a load of fun, friend.
Yeah.
No reanimation for you today.
Tyranids were just great at every single phase.
They were, yeah. We were
Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we had a good run in 9th. 6th edition was like, that was fun at the start, and then we became such a hard army. It was Codex flying Hive Tyrant back then. Hive Tyrant was actually if I recall, it was the primary reason the Rule 3 became a thing, because people were bringing like 6 or 7 of them way back. There's a way to get like extra detachments back then. You could just spam them, and I think that happened, and then the Rule 3 became a thing.
Thanks.
They sold a lot of kits though. Yeah, a lot of Hive Tyrant kits went out.
Well, I don't want to shorten up talking about Tyranids too much, but I did want to maybe bring up Basement Wargaming. You know, it's a very different type of battle report than some of the maybe 3.5 hour streams people are used to. So where did the idea for the short form battle report come from?
The interesting thing is, while it's very different now, people look at me like, oh, these are short. It was the norm when I started making battle reports. It was the standard. So we started, I think our first video was, if you want to chuckle, scroll down and have a watch at our first videos.
Rough how?
Oh, the camera, the angle, the volume.
We're gonna go back in time.
Everything. Oh yeah, we're stepping back. It's weird, like watching. None of my models are painted. Like maybe a third of them are. And I look back and I'm like, oh, I never want to go through all that again. There's so many Tyranids now. But yeah, it was back then. It was the norm to do kind of like the recap. That was, everyone was doing that. Like the frontline gaming, they did them. I'm pretty sure. I think Scary did them originally. I can't remember if he did. I'm pretty sure he did the recap. Mini Wargaming originally, like the beat Matt Bat Reps. If you're a long time watcher with them, that's what he did. He did the voiceover. I think our 1 or 2 early ones we did like the voiceover, but then I was like, I despise having to like watch the content and sit there and be like, this happened, and then like I forget something and I finish the video, I'm like, I missed that key piece of detail. It was very crucial to the game. So yeah, we stuck with the recap style. It's efficient for me to record. I very much, my channel, it's a hobby, it's a passion to do. Like I'm not doing it to try and like become Warhammer famous or anything like that. It's fun. I've met a great community on there, and to be honest, there's more now. But at the time, like I think we were the only Tyranid dedicated channel. Like there's not many people doing pure Tyranid content, and that's where we got a lot of a following. Originally, like Gordy and I were doing the videos together. Like he would help film some. Like we would both, like when we would play, like it was your turn, you did your own filming type of thing. But then we took like when I took that break heading into 8th edition, and obviously he stopped playing for a bit too. So then I started to back up myself, and then I went back to doing the recap, because I tried to watch a few battle reports, and I'm not, with 3 kids, I'm not someone that has a ton of free time, so I find it very hard to watch a long battle report. I skim them. Like sometimes when I have my lunch, taking a break, like if I'm doing like a homework day, I'll watch it during lunch. I like to do Striking Scorpion, big fan of that one. But I skim just because it's just a beautiful looking report. I like watching that. But it's too long for me. So I like doing the smaller ones because it's an alternative. It gives people like people that enjoy watching battle reports, but they don't want to block off a third of their day to watch the entire thing, or watch. I find it hard sometimes if I watch a longer report, I'll watch and I'm like, oh, I'll come back tomorrow. And I start watching them like, the heck's going on? Like, I thought this thing was alive or dead, whatever. And then you kind of forget stuff. So that's kind of what we focus on. I also do Tyranid Tactica as well. Again, it was I do it because I love Tyranids and it's fun. But I also like doing the Tactica video just to kind of like fill that void. There wasn't a lot of Tyranid Tactica videos happening. People weren't really talking about them as much on a dedicated level. I tried doing like tiny bit of vlog stuff. I'm not a vlogger, so I didn't really pan out. And I also like events I go to. I try my best to do a recap. It's very hard because like tournaments for me are a getaway. Like if I can make a tournament, I planned at least a month or two in advance, just with like kids and stuff, and making sure my wife like is cool with me taking a day or the weekend away. So I'm very much focused on seeing all the people I never get to see.
It's a lot of work to try to like.
I don't do the best.
Take pictures.
Yeah,
and...
event recaps are not fun because like I find I the first game always comes up very strong. Usually by the third game, it's like. Here's a photo, turn 3. I'll film it around the
this is like a selfie of the end. Like, I did it, guys.
Right? Yeah. So, I try to do event recaps because, again, like, it's fun showing off some of the lists I run. So, like, that's another thing as well. Like, the last GTA ran, I did a double Moloch list. It was super weird. My last game I lost. I lost by 4 points against Lanesh Demons. They got the better of me. And had I beat them, I would have went 4-1 with the Moloch, which was just to me.
I remember
hilarious.
You were so proud of them.
Oh yeah, it was just. I'll never be able to run it again. People like once you learn what they do, good luck ever having a good round with them again because they're so easy to kind of stop, but they're so niche. But anyway, like showing off cool lists like that is also another reason I really like doing the tournament recaps. So that's the channel, like we have an incredible local community that has developed here in Truro. Like I said, originally it was just like as far as I was concerned, it was like Josh and I we're holding the fort down for the whole town. But then my videos is what Basement Wargaming videos actually helped immensely with kind of connecting and helping other people that were getting into the game. That didn't have or know anyone else to play. So I started sharing my reports on Facebook groups. And then I noticed people are starting to message like, hey, I'm in Truro too. I play Warhammer. I'm like, no way. Yeah. So then...
was that like part of your driving force of doing the videos? Was to connect?
No, I had no idea. I just was making them thinking like I have fun making them. I like.
Were you thinking of it more like cinematically? Like
it's almost
I'm gonna make this like battle and make videos of it.
Yeah. I found too as a Tyranid player. Again, we're not a lot of people. We're doing dedicated Tyranid reports. There's obviously the entire battle report scene is exponentially grown over the last couple of years. There's definitely like loads of Tyranid content out there, but at the time there wasn't. And I found it was a great way for me to connect with the Tyranid players. I learned a lot of different strategies and ways to build lists through connecting with people like that. So that was my main driving force. The community just kind of happened out of that, and it was like the best, the absolute greatest side effect ever.
Not planned, but it happened.
To happen. Yeah, exactly. So I think we have 15-ish, like very consistent players.
From zero.
That's where we are, Laura. Something like that, isn't it? Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, what was that tournament? 12 people?
Yeah. We had
the
12,
diaper one?
12 of us in there. That was, the diaper party. So yeah, again, I wanted to do something special for Josh. He drugged me back into the game. So I was like, we'll do something. What better way to excuse to block the day off for a full day of Warhammer and then get everyone out. It was amazing. You know what? And the funniest thing is there was 12 of us and not a single person ran a duplicate army. We all ran different factions. Loved it. No one running the same thing. I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, it was amazing. Like normally, like on average, you're going to see maybe 1 to 2 of the same armies. No, none. Did we have one Marine army? I think
there was 2 Chaos Space Marines, but we were different sub factions. So that was probably the closest we got to a duplicate. But that's pretty good.
It was even then, right? And then just a single Marine army, like crazy. Crazy
So,
times.
well, you know what? You've kind of answered my question, but I was curious: is there any secret sauce to how you built kind of this local community? So we talked a couple episodes ago about building kind of positive community locally, and I think you're kind of the poster child for doing a great job at that.
Oh, no, we got a good group of folks. That's the best part and the secret here. To be honest, I kind of touched on it earlier. But it's very much having a group that's like-minded in how they approach the game. We have the majority of people, like yourself, Gordy, and I are probably the most competitively experienced individuals. Everyone else is very new in regards to that. And it is great because we can play a competitive game. Everyone's very open to learning. There's kind of like that agreement heading in that, hey, we're going to play a competitive game or we're not going to play it. And that's why I always like to ask you, like, what are you bringing? And people are like, no, everyone, I think, no one has, I think, in the local scene now ever felt, at least I hope not, if you're listening and you're from here and you think I was trying to tailor. But you want to have like a good game. I think that's the secret to community building in Warhammer. There has to be an agreement on both sides to what you're going to play. Like, we're blocking this time off. Are we looking to have a good game? Are we looking to run our GT lists, which I think goes hand in hand. If you're running GT lists for prep, very well you're going to have a game that could end turn 2, turn 1, maybe, if things are crazy. But then if you're looking for like a good game, you could still play more competitive, but at least that way, if you're initiating the game, I could be like, hey, I'm running this tiered list. This is what it does well. Bring whatever you want, sort of thing. And then your opponent can match. Or if they show me like, hey, I'm bringing this, and I look at it, I'm like, maybe that isn't the best build. I get like to face Tyranids, not saying anyone's building a bad list, but to face like what I was planning on building. So then I'll be like, actually, I'll switch up my build a little and give a good game. I think that's the most important thing, is everyone being on the same page. And yeah, just communication with that. Like if you're building a community, just I can't stress enough, playing a game, communicate what you're looking to play. Think about what your goal is playing a game, because outside of like a competitive game, it lasts, like competitive games, obviously it's time, you got 3 hours, but like in a casual setting, like it's 4 to 5 hours, depending on how much you're like joking around, hanging out, plus setup time. It's a lot of time to block off to, like, again, just smash someone and just be like, hey, gotcha. Like, who wants to do that? Like, I intentionally, that is, like, it happens, unfortunately. Just, it's a dice game. And
so how would you tailor your list to like a fun list or a good game list?
I think for me, it's a bit different of a scenario for me. And I found most people in our local area have kind of like started with me, like the gatekeepers, say, at the start, right? Kind of like to get introduced. At the time as well, I'm pretty sure I was the only one at the table for the better part of a year. So I was kind of like, I was controlling the monopoly of the game.
I would say you're a pretty great gatekeeper.
Yeah, the friendly gatekeeper.
That's a great time.
Right? But I think like where I've been playing Tyranids for such a long time and have such a strong grasp of the army, being able to look at what someone else is bringing, I'm able to kind of scale my army up or down based off of that, which is why like if I can, I like to try and play like the early games with people against me, because like I don't. Some people are new. Maybe they have played before. Maybe they really haven't. I don't know their entire background in playing 40K. So at least if I can, we can make sure it's a good game. It sets a good tone for the community as well. Like very much like we're like-minded here. If someone makes a list and they have, let's just say they're running the old Indominus setup, classic, like 3 Eradicators, the Intercessors, the Captain, the Outrider, you know what I mean? And a Dreadnought. You're like, okay, very, I don't want to say basic because I'm not trying to knock things out, but very standard. Very standard. You see that, and then I'm like, maybe I'll just pack up my double zone ropes and I'll scepter. You know what I mean? Like we'll stick them to the side. Yeah, so like I kind of look at my army as well, and this maybe it's advice for someone who is kind of in a similar position to myself, starting, is like understand your army. Like you yourself will know the tiers of what you bring. So there's a lot of times I play a game, and I know, like in my S tier, I got at the time I had my mouse at my zoanthropes, the Reaper Tyrant. I'm not talking about that yet. Rip, missed that. Missed the Reaper Tyrant. But yeah, so like I have my good units, then like some of the better ones, and so like I'll make like a mental note. Okay, I can only pull 1 to 2 of these ones, or if I like pull 2, then like my mid tier, maybe I only take like 1 to 2 of them, and then I'll bring the jank at the end. That's just, it's fun to run. You wouldn't really see, and it offers something different. That's kind of how you would.
That's great advice.
I guess. Yeah. Like if you're starting a community, I can't stress again enough to like learn your army. Like not just for the sake of the flow of the game, but being able to bring new players in, being able to know your army and its limits, what it's good at, how to give a good game is very important. Because like I couldn't imagine having a new person messaging me. I post a video like, "Oh hey, you're in Troga. Let's play a game." Like cool. Then they come over and they got the Indominus Force, and I'm running my GT lists like. And then you smash them. They're just kind of right. Like it's just kind of like you finish. You're just like
yeah. Did you have fun? I had fun.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's really important building a community. I think communicate. Get a central point to chat with everyone. Like we have a Discord, and everyone's is very active in there. Originally started on Facebook, but there's Facebook. I don't like it. Don't need to get out of here. Facebook, and again, Discord. You have all the channels and everything, so it's very organized. Keeps all the discussion relevant to whatever you're talking about. And then again, like we have a section for like scheduling battles, so you can schedule a game. I try and always like. Again, either share my list in there or be like, what are you looking for? Like, do you want to play a competitive game? Do you want to play this and that? And then, I think that's the core of establishing a good community.
Do you ever think that 12-year-old Tyler would be the swarm lord that he is today?
No, 12-year-old Tyler was trying to ban Terminators against and Land Raiders against his brothers Eldar, which were maybe we also didn't play with points back then because
it was just too cool much. Models versus
we didn't have Battlescribe back then. Yeah, it was too much to add the points up, so I took everything because we didn't have Battlescribe. So heck yeah, I'm gonna use whatever you wanted. There are also the sheets that told you how to build stuff. They didn't tell you like what weapons were what. So like. I remember looking at Terminators. I looked at the thing. I'm like, "What the heck is this?" And then on their sheet, they could have this. It's gotta be. It's a flamer. So I was just zapping things left, right, and center. I was like, "Heck yeah, I got multiple of this on here." But it was a flame. It comes later. I like as I learn more, like flamer. Yeah. Whoops. So sorry guys.
Either way, 12-year-old Tyler would be proud.
Yeah. 16-year-old Tyler would be very happy because that's when the addiction began.
He's just giving you that slow nod, like, yeah. You did it.
You did it. You painted an army that didn't have the goblin green base from 3rd edition.
Ooh, the green bases.
Right? The flock.
With the brown rim.
That was it. No, back then it was just a full green base, the goblin green, the flock right on top. That was it. No base coat either. I slapped the paint on. I didn't.
So are we basing the bases as like a fashion sense?
No, we're on the grass. That's it. No, yeah, there was just the paint slapped on, and one coat too. I didn't know
two coats.
I had battles to play.
I mean, the fact that you were painting when I was 16, I'm pretty sure half my army was gray permanently. So you were at least painting it.
Oh my goodness! I some of my models wish that you could paint. I still have them. My kids look at my stuff and like. I consider myself a mid-tier painter. I just try and make them look good. I'm not fancy. My methods are very unorthodox in how I paint material. It works, but they look at it and they're like, oh, like from their perspective, like, oh, it's insane. It's crazy how you paint that. and they're like, how can I can't do that because they'll try and paint a model. They're like, it's not coming out detailed. And then like I always pull up my like first my little red blood angels that are just like the eyes are just a black blob. The mouths are just a black dot right on the center of their face. Like,
and it's not detailed.
Yeah. Then you show them that and you're like, please take my wisdom here and understand practice.
What inspired you with your paint scheme?
Again, space, they're dinos. It's very I don't know how to describe my scheme. It's very it's got a dark gray carapace with some lighter gray feathering with kind of like the bone skin. I always like High Fleet Kraken, the look of like the skin tone with like the kind of like the bone with like the brown, the interior,
flesh,
like they're like the rib cages and stuff. The interior, yeah, on the inside. I always like that, but I didn't like the red because I was like, I'm not going to use some Codex paint scheme. I'm going to get creative. So then I did a black or a gray carapace. But it looks to me very like armory, like kind of like dragony, I guess. Like it's very that would be kind of how I describe it. Like it looks like very much like armor dragon.
It's very much your own. Like the moment you see one of your models, you know that's a Basement Wargaming Tyranid.
Yeah, it was funny. I've only ever seen one other scheme that what quite literally was identical to mine, just on a random forum and like forum or a Facebook group. I never normally comment and stuff. I'm a scroll. I don't say much, but I had to stop and be like, hey, same scheme.
Perhaps inspired by you.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, maybe. Very well could be. Even like so my claws are all red as well, and his claws are red too. I was like, what are the chances? It was a heritage too, so that was the extra. Yeah. We had a connection for those two comments.
So you kind of answered one of our questions that we wanted to ask you. That do you hobby with your kids?
Yeah. So they are. It's funny because so I have three boys. One 6, 4, and one of them just turned 3. So yeah, 6, 4, and 3. Crazy. Yeah, they're that close together. But
it
works.
Bold with that choice.
Yeah. But, yeah. It is a lot, but it's great because like they're close enough in age, and the youngest is starting to get to a point that he can do more focused stuff, and hold his attention a bit more. And of course, anything I'm into, they love. So the Theo, he's my oldest. He's very much into. He likes the gaming side. He likes to take my biggest and baddest model, which is typically the Dimicarans. I won't let me use the Harridan yet. I got to pin one of the wings in because it just falls off. And then I usually get like an intercessor or something. That's how our games go.
How proud are
I lose a lot against him.
He chose a Dimmons.
Oh, very proud. Yeah. So when he was kind of to the point, like when I was getting back into playing, like he liked coming down and looking at it, but I think he would have been 2.5, I think, once I started getting back into it. So he didn't really know what it was. He knew like come down and be like the action figures, like little toys. So he liked that part. But then like once I started getting back into it, he's seen it more and more. And since I've been playing Tyranids for such a long time, like the vast majority of my army was like I've had a lot of stuff painted, like getting back to the 9th. I didn't do a lot of painting early on. I don't even think I painted any Tyranids. Actually, I did some Warriors. That was it. I don't think I painted anything new with Tyranids at 9th until I got the Dimicarans. So that was kind of like the first model he got to like witness me building and painting. So I think it formed a very immediate special attachment to the Dimas. Like they're very hooked on the Dimicarans. Like anytime I play someone, like he'll kind of like look at me like the Dimas. I'm like, unfortunately, buddy, they got nerfed. And he's like, what? I'm like, too expensive. And he's just like, yeah, you don't want to beat anyone. I'm like, yeah, yeah, option 3. Then my middle guy, Harrison, he's more of the he likes throwing dice
across the room.
Not so much the playing and moving. Yeah, it's very funny. Like he plays, he likes building bases out of the terrain. Often I will set a table up because I have a game coming up in the day, so I get the table ready, and then I come down, they hang it. He's very much the one to like he'll grab a terrain piece, put it in the center of the table, grab another terrain piece, grab one that he can stick stuff under, and he has a few Marines from. I got the Dark Vengeance set when I got back into 40k in 2012 with the Dark Angels and the Chaos. I never played the Dark Angels, so I've had them sitting in there for ages, like just the standard Marines. So I gave them all to the boys and just let them 100% paint them all exactly how they want it to. So he's got 5 of them are his. So like that's his the soldiers they call it. That's the soldiers. So we'll get them, and he'll grab all my terrain after I just set it up. Typically, I'm playing in more competitive games, so we have like a very structured layout of the terrain. So I'm like, oh, perfect. So then he'll set it all up. He likes building little bases, and they hide in there, and then he just likes throwing the dice into the dice tray. So playing isn't he likes that part, but he loves painting. I have some photos of him. Like he gets right up. Like it's my favorite thing. He'll get right up to the wall. The tongue sticks out. He's like painting, and he's very detailed. He doesn't quite know how to use a palette yet. That there's extra paint there. It's very much like he'll like scoop the paint up, put a tiny bit, just throw it, whip it all around. Like I need more. You're like it's right. It's right there. Yeah, it's been 5 seconds. It's still good.
You're watching your money just swirl in the cup.
Yeah. Right, and then I'm like, there's more there. And he'll like look at it. He'll be painting like a green. He'll just look at it. I need purple now.
Color theory.
And then he'll switch the purple, and then like again, a dot will go on. He'll be like, I need green. You're like, what? The same green? He's like, yeah. Oh, why? But I don't mind. No, it's funny. But he very much enjoys the painting, and you can kind of see like that artistic side with him. So it's really cool seeing like the different areas that they kind of latch onto. And my youngest, basically, he mimics me, Holden. He will do like if I'm painting, he wants to be beside me, and he'll watch me paint, and then like he'll kind of look, and then he'll look over and try and mimic the same motions without really like really doing anything. So it's really cool. Like I have I have it up on top of one of my display cabinets, all the models they painted. I let them paint up a few Tyranids from my 16-year-old days. I still have my original Battle Force. I didn't repaint it because it's a good way to look at like how far you've come. However, I've let them start dipping into repainting some of them because they want to paint all of my other stuff.
Those are the new ones.
Maybe let's try some other things. Yeah. Theo was like, you think I could do some painting on your Dim Karen? I was like, well, how about this Space Marine with plasma
You
gun?
can make it any color you want.
Yeah. This one's got a plasma cannon. And he's like, ooh, is that no damage? I'm like, oh, yeah. And he's like, all right, that's yeah, he's very... It's very easy to talk out of it. But yeah, the hobbying with them, it's very fun. In general, kind of like getting into games and stuff. We're trying to... it's hard with 3 kids at very different stages. But trying to do more family games. We did 3 sessions of Dungeons and Dragons. First one went very well. They were very patient. The 6-year-old and 4-year-old, the youngest went to bed at the time. He was only 2 when we did this. First session went very well. Like I think we played for almost 2 hours. They held their attention. The second one was like kind of okay. Then the third one, Theo's like, I'm the dungeon master. I was like, oh, we got to finish our story, buddy. He's like, no, I want to make the rules. And I was like, I get.
Sounds like a typical D&D game.
But I was like,
adults.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was great. So like doing little things like that, kind of getting their creative side going, and also low key teaching them numbers. Like with Theo, if he's a bit impatient. Which he's 6, so let's be real. It's very standard. Sometimes I call it Kids Warhammer. I need to relabel it because I call it Kids Warhammer, and he's like, yeah, I'm not a kid, so I got to change the name of it. But it's young, a very young. Yeah, well, it's gotta be a name that like makes him feel old and in charge. Like it's I don't know. Yeah, adult.
No, that sounds like
that sounds like a very different.
We'll dodge that. Yeah, we'll stay away from that one.
Wise Hammer.
But yeah, so I made a very wise hammer. Yeah, super smart hammer.
Hammer.
Super. Yeah. Oh, you would love that. But I took the game and I like exponentially scaled it down. So building a list, typically what I would do when he's up for doing this, it usually lasts a half hour, so it's not long to play it. I actually tried to write the rules out so I wouldn't forget it, so that way he could try and stay consistent. But points I would use dice. So I would like, if you had a Dimmacairn, I would like, it's worth 6 points. So I would set a d6 down with a 6 up, and then like I was like, we get 15 points in our army. So I was like, if you want to build an army, go over, pick the dice up, put it in a pool. Don't change the side it's on, because the Dimmacairn is not worth 1. So he would add them up together to equal 15 or 10, whatever you were doing. So it's like teaching him math, but also kind of like building an army. Again, obviously, he just goes for straight monsters. I was like, maybe let's try the
They're
troops. Maybe
expensive.
just trying to like, yeah. They when I told him the Dimmacairns could jump, he did a visual demonstration. He's like this, and he flipped it over, and I was like, oh. Oh, there's one time he did something with it, and the arm fell off, and he just paused and he looked up at me. It was just like, it was so much like, am I in trouble? I was like, no, it's glue. I was like, but this is why you have to. It was good, but he was just, it happened. He was like, no. But doing things like that, it's really fun. And again, it like educates and like low key, like.
It sounds so important. So do you have any advice for other parents out there that want to introduce their children into Warhammer? And maybe the reason, like, why?
Be patient. Be patient. They're going to break stuff. Your models are going to, like, mine aren't varnished. They probably should be. The vast majority of my collection I had long before I had children, so I had no fear of things getting chipped up, and it was just a step that I never.
No peanut butter fingers touching them.
Nothing. The peanut butter claws. Like be very patient. Things are going to break. They're not going to understand. Buy a Dollarama paintbrush. It's going to get ruined. A paintbrush that you are very okay with getting ruined. And again, like you have to be patient. Like with my boys, one loves the playing aspect. Doesn't so much have the patience for the painting. He does, but he gets very frustrated with things not coming out incredibly detailed when he slaps the paint on it. So explaining that. Then the other one more is kind of like the artistic side, but then like again, where you have them together, one's like, let's play, and the other one's like, no, Dad, I want to paint. So it just being patient with both of them. And again, like if you try and play like the Kids Hammer or whatever, like create something simple, but be aware that like you're going to start it. You'll probably spend some time like prepping for them, like, oh, I'm going to have such a fun little time here with them. You'll play for 5 minutes and you're like, I just spent the last hour like in my head like planning all these numbers out and like trying to set up something cool. They build an army. It's the most hype thing ever. You set it up. He moves them all. He's like, yeah, I'm done. You just kind of be like, you're like, oh, are you sure? It's really
your heart sink.
We don't have to stop. Yeah, a little bit, yeah. But it's good. Like there's been a few times where we've like actually, I think there's one time we spent, I would say a full hour, like just kind of like playing it out. It was a lot of fun. And be very, what is the word I'm blanking on? Very animated with the kids. Very, very like, obviously don't be like this. Dimmacairn is shredding the gut from this. It'd be very like, oh, he ate him. Like, not to that degree, of course. But very much like kind of my very first game I ever actually played of Warhammer was at a place, Odyssey 2000. I don't know if either of you, there was like a little hobby store on Quinpool. This would have been, again, when I was 12. But I did a demo game there against a friend of mine. And it was really cool. The guy, I wish I knew his name so I could give him a shout out. It was such I'll never forget that experience. It was the 3rd edition starter kit. They had like a little demo table set up, and the whole time, like each stage of like something was happening, he was like, your guns are blasting. Like he was explaining kind of in detail. He's like, the morale phase. He's like, you fail this, your troops are gonna run. And he kind of like very like descriptively described how the game was happening, like the flow. So it felt very immersive. For as a kid, like seeing like instead of just seeing like this dice rolled a 6, now this model is being picked up. It was very much like kind of explaining what was happening. Again, not to a graphic level or anything like that. But it was very memorable. And it has always stuck with me. Like I lost the game. I remember that part too. The Dark Elder whooped me, even though I had Space Marines. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, I think I made a lot of good tactical decisions.
Was that 12-year-old?
But it was... yeah, the whole field. Yeah, that was before I had my Terminators. It was be patient with them. That's the most important thing, and make it fun. Like you're gonna have a lot of times where in your head it's like gonna be this insane bonding moment. It's set up perfectly. It's like the other kids are like upstairs playing. It's just you and then him, and you're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be amazing. Then you play like 5 minutes. He's like, yeah, let's do something else. And you're like, come on, please. But again, like as long as you like make it fun, and then like also if that happens, the ending portion of it, don't make it negative. And it's easy to do, like even just kind of like, oh come on, like we set all this up. Don't make any part of it feel negative, even a tiny bit.
They'll pick up on it.
Like, oh, I set all this up for you. Come on, please. Yeah, exactly. And then what's going to happen is they're going to think, oh, Warhammer. It takes time to set up. If I don't,
feels like a job.
So that's one thing I've been very conscious with them. And I think that has helped their enjoyment and desire to one day build an army, one day get a hair. It's Theo's desire. Yeah, they've even gone upstairs. Like we have like a little Lego table, and Theo actually built a Warhammer table, like built the terrain, built like a Harridan. We played like Lego Warhammer one day. It was really cool.
That's super cute.
I'm not gonna cry because that's so
something. It was
right.
Oh, it was insane. Yeah, like it was so much like we were like he was just off building, like doing something. He's like, Dad, let's play Warhammer. I was like, oh, we can try, because like his brother was there. He's like, oh no, not downstairs. And then I was like, what do you mean? And then he showed me the table. And he actually like we played a full game.
He built it without you.
But yeah, that's.
Oh my.
Yeah. So he was. Yeah, he. Yeah, I didn't get to do the Tyrion stuff.
Only a little bitter. Only a little.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my best advice for a Warhammer parent. Be patient, and make sure it's always, no matter what happens, make it very positive.
Do you think there's a market for like Kid Hammer or some sort of structure to introduce kids into Warhammer?
I think that's
I think
there's like GW has like a program, I think, for like schools and stuff. I think that's kind of what the combat patrols are for.
Yeah, I think there's like 5 stages to it. There's like I forget what it is. It's like build, paint, play. I think one step's actually like read, like the lore and stuff. I'm pretty sure. I remember seeing it. I was like, oh, that's lame. It's good, but it was just funny. And then there's one other step too. I think, but yeah, it's really cool. Like I seen that program. I definitely think there's something there. I think they're on the right track to it. Warhammer is just such a great thing, because like it can be a competitive game. It can be a narrative escape. It can literally just be lore if you like it. It can be painting. There's so much to it, that, and especially for a young kid too. Especially in like today's age, where like it's sometimes hard, like with social media it's very to express yourself, but to feel unique. Like everyone's trying to be like the same. If you're not doing this, like it's just such a good outlet, I think, in that regard. You can express your creativity. You can find like-minded people, and build a community off that, build friends off that, play narrative games. There's so much to it. The lore it's wild. Like it's overwhelming. I don't know how they keep track of everything. It's a task, doing all that.
Are you a lore buff?
No, not 40K as much. I used to be when I played Dawn of War, like when I was getting back into playing. I really enjoyed reading a lot of narrative stuff, but again, I worked night shifts. I didn't have kids at the time, so like I had a lot of free time to read and do stuff over those years. So I was very into the lore of 40K up until I think it was around like just before 8th edition, when like I think wasn't that when it was like leading up to Gilliman coming back or something. I can't remember. It was like right around until then I kind of like dropped off of that. However, even during the time I stopped playing Warhammer, I read the Horus Heresy books. I'm very into that. I love the lore of Horus Heresy. That is, I would say I'm more a Horus Heresy lore buff than 40K. It's tough because 40K, it's like, again, I love Tyranids, but you can't find a good story for them. Let's be real. It's literally like, it's like, oh, Tyranids are the overwhelming threat.
It just drops off.
Like,
yeah.
And we lost. Yeah. But I mean, how do you can't really have a story that doesn't go that way. But
it was actually something I've been talking with Blood God, and we talked about it last time. Is there many stories from the Tyranids' perspective?
Not that I've heard. I actually tried to look. So I've made a conscious choice to start reading more at night. And I was trying to get back into the Horus Heresy books, but unfortunately, my Attack on Titan addiction made me start collecting the
Not
manga,
bad.
the physical copies. A huge
Not
Attack
bad.
on Titan fan.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's amazing. I love it so much. It's next to Warhammer. It's probably my favorite thing.
Now you just gotta marry the two.
It's so amazing. Yeah, right. I am. Yeah, if anyone's listening to this and you can give some input on how to make an Attack on Titan themed army, I am gonna do it one day, but not today or this year or probably next year. But I will do it one day. But yeah, I wanted to get back into reading, and I was looking up Tyranid novels. Like, I want to read something, but it's not. I mean, there's stories out there, but like I have. See if I can see. I have my shelf over here. It's the one of the Space Marine omnibuses, and I think it's the one with the crimson or the Imperial Fist on the front of it. I don't know. There's certain volumes, but there's a few good Tyranid stories in there. There's one really cool one where there's like it was a dead Tyranid ship, and they were like some Marines, like it was like essentially a Tyranid space Hulk, and some Marines went on it to like collect something, but there was like a half dead Hive tyrant still like stalking the halls.
Okay,
it was
so
really
yeah.
cool. That one was like, but it was a short story, which was I was really hoping it would be kind of longer. I've been meaning again.
Are there fan fiction stories?
So that's kind of what. There definitely is. I've never looked into it. There's a Tyranid forum called the Tyranid Hive. It's probably like one of the very few like active like just actual forums for Warhammer out there. Like it's built from Chainsaw, obviously. Since Facebook exists, who needs forums? But that one is very active. And I've been on there again since like I got back into the game. And there's a section for Tyranid fan fiction. So I actually used to read a little bit on there. It was some really, really good stuff, but I never really like dove into it as much. But Horus Heresy really has my interest. I love the characters. After reading, what's the first one called? Horus Rising. That book, like that book sold me. I was like, I'm going to read every single one if I can. It was phenomenal. Like it's so good. Every time I read a book, I'm like, I want to play this Legion. And then I read another book and I'm like, this Legion's actually really cool. And then I read another book and I'm like, it's a good thing I'm not in Horus Heresy playing. I could never collect it all. Yeah, Horus Heresy is definitely the main area of lore that I follow. There's a little bit like if like a Tyranid Codex comes out, I'll read that, like a bit of it. But like I don't read as many 40k novels anymore.
The Horus Heresy is nice because it's got like a central narrative to it, so you can follow it along. Whereas 40k, you almost have to like put effort into keeping track of what the novels are about.
Right? Like I came back after all of 8th edition, and it's like, what? Like, what? He's dead, or not dead, but he's in a rock or whatever he was in his stasis. That's what it is. Yeah, and seeing that, and then I remember when I came back to it as well, Mortarion was I was like, what the heck is going on here? Like, what happened this edition? So it was like I'm very much out of that. Like I did not read. I very loosely know what happened with the. What's it called? The Dominus Crusade. I don't know that whole era with the Death Guard and Ultramarines. I know the general storyline. I'm very much a Wikipedia reader. I will grab the very like the paragraph that tells me what happens, and then I'm satisfied with that. But like that's the extent that I've kind of kept up on current lore. I would say there's little tidbits like where I've been playing more like as they release like the Arcs of Omen. I kind of follow along, but as soon as I realized there's no Tyranids, I was kind of like. Yeah. But then the Lion came back and I thought that was really cool. But yeah, the lore is kind of like I really like the setting and I really enjoyed reading it, but just with again having more limited free time, I find in terms of the 40k like lore, painting, gaming, lore is probably the one if I had to focus less on that for me at least. But I love it, but just yeah, can't fit it all in.
You're just one guy.
I'm just one fellow.
One swarm lord.
Right. Was there anything else you'd like to share for the folks at home, or?
No, I think that was I really played here. That's it.
That's what we got.
Yeah, no, you can definitely check out my channel as well. Take a look at that if you like the recap style. They're shorter. They're more time efficient for you as a viewer. The long reports again, they're very enjoyable. But if you're looking to like if you have 20 minutes to sit down and just watch something that's like all you have time but you want to actually watch a full game, definitely for you, consider giving those. Again, if you like Tyranids, that is 99% of the content. I think I played 3 games in 9th edition that weren't Tyranids on the channel, so they're there, but there's not many of them.
And if you don't like Tyranids, there is one video where one old one-eye gets battered up. So.
Oh my goodness, that was kind of touching very quickly on that as well. That's the other thing. Like, again, going back to the community, like doing those tailored lists, you get moments like that where, like, I mean, we were both running. I can't remember what we were running. I think I was trying out the Jormungandr list that apparently was doing well, but evidently not.
Wasn't it that old one-eye?
But yeah, like, he didn't even have a head after that. Yeah, like the moments like that are just amazing. So, like, again, like, I love that. Yeah, that's a very good report to watch, but that was so sad.
I think it was built on like a jumping around winged hive tyrant that never ended up like being able to do what it needed to do.
Oh yeah, I failed charge. I think I got everything that went wrong was wrong in that game.
You can check it out on Basement Wargaming.
The funny part is
YouTube.
Yeah. The funny part is too, everyone who comes on the channel, like every time I have a new individual on the channel, I record it. It just, for whatever reason, again, even trying to make like a fair game, I smash the new players. You're the only one that has come on, and it's been the reverse. Every other time, it's like, it's happening. I'm like, what is going on? Like let's be nice, Dice. It's the first time here on the channel. Be nice. But then, yeah, then you put old one in his place. So it was funny. Yeah, he deserved it. Oh,
well, thank you, Tyler, for joining us, and
thank you for having me.
Absolutely, and yeah, absolutely check out Basement Wargaming. It's fantastic. You can also find it on Instagram at Basement Wargaming.
Yeah, I'm getting back to being active. I made that account. I think I put like 9 posts, and then it was like, after that one, the GT win, then it was just, I didn't post after that. Like I said, that was the
start and stop on a high.
Then, exactly. Yeah, it was I think a year and a half I didn't post or something. It was at least a year. I had people tagging me and stuff. I was so mad. I like opened it up. There's like so many things.
Did you end up buying that bed with your prize money?
No, we did something else. It was, I won it for her. Yeah, we did a night away in Wolfville, and no kids. So yeah, we went a little too hard. That we were running rush up the next morning. Yeah, we sullied that win for all those words. Yeah, yeah. The bed frame. Yeah, I played a GT, and the deal was Tyranids had just had their codex come out. I told my wife, I was like, I'm a shoe-in.
I'm a win this.
And I ended up pulling out the win. Yeah, I was like, I have a chance to win some money. I'm in a good spot. Our book just came out. She's like, you better win it. And then we ended up winning. So then I had to buy her bed frame, but then we did a night in the town. So that's where the bed frame comes from.
Oh, sorry.
Anyone wondering?
I remember asking, what do you do with your winnings? Because I think it was a $500 cash prize. And you were like, buy a bed frame. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Paying for the home. For winnings.
Going pro.
Yes, I am. I am active on Instagram again. So I'm trying to be more intentional with that again. Just getting involved in the community, and it's also incentive for me to kind of. It's tough being busy with work and kids to like play as much, and when I can't play, it's good to like doing this. I was so excited to do this because 10th has been dropping. I've been trying to talk on Discord as much as I can, but like I haven't really talked to anyone about anything, so it's good.
But we'll have to check in after 10th launches and see how you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we'll do a follow-up one after we get some games and see how Tyranids are. See if my levels stay, I should say. But how strong is my level?
Would you like to plug your business?
Maximum. Yeah, for sure. So I own Care Kombucha. It is a kombucha brewery. I'll give you the super 20-second sales pitch. It's a fermented tea that is M flavored, so it's full of probiotics, antioxidants, and B vitamins as well. So very good for your gut digestion. If you're local to Nova Scotia, we do local delivery for Colchester, HRM, excuse me, and Enfield. And you can find us as well. There's many locations. We're breaking into the Halifax market slowly, but it's happening. You can visit us as well at carekombucha.com. And we're on Instagram, and I am active.
Yeah. And it's Care with a K.
Yeah. Care with a K, yeah.
And can confirm it's a delicious booch.
The best booch.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
The best booch. Yeah, we have a lot of flavors as well. That's what sets us out from the competition as well. There's a lot of flavors to choose from. It is very delicious. People look at kombucha and they think like fermented tea, yuck, but it's actually fermented tea, yum.
And seasonal flavors as well. So.
Yep. We're actually our summer flavors are coming up. I'm going to be teasing them on Instagram next week. I will tell you the Kameha is coming back, so it is absolutely an anime-inspired kombucha. The Kameha kombucha, mango flavored, is inspired by my love for Dragon Ball, and also Kameha.
May or may not make your hair blonde.
And, yes, you have to yell for 2 episodes straight.
Red Bull gives you wings. Kameha gives you
right. Saying makes you super. But it's a great drink as well. Just quickly mention, as well as war gamers too. I mean, it's not the most physical of hobbies. So instead of drinking energy drinks and pop, it's a great alternative for that. Highly recommend considering for that regard.
Can confirm
too. Can confirm care.
Well, on that note, I want to thank everyone for joining us, and don't forget to subscribe to Chaos Divided, and you can find us on social media at Nurgle_Snurgle and at Blushing Noise Marine. And until next week, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.